Good morning. Coffee with the Summerland Kids. I'm Jericho Woggon. This is Aaron Riggs over here. And this is episode 98 of our show. And it is currently 63 degrees in Summerland, 81 for the high. And it's sunny today. So there's obviously a difference between sunny and mostly sunny. So I think when they say sunny, that's just a full on summer type day. So yeah, here we go. Coffee with the Summerland Kids. Summerland Kids.
Coffee, coffee, coffee. Me,
Coffee, coffee, coffee.
it's literally 20 minutes or so, 15 minutes after sunrise. So pardon my hair. I didn't shower yet this morning, and it's still in the thing there. That I put it in the thing at night so I don't wake up with a big mess.
It's in the Avatar amoeba phase,
Oh, I'm just waking up here.
That's cool,
but that's
man.
what coffee's for, right?
Yeah, pre-show off air the challenges of a hot cup of coffee. There's a few coffee shops in town here, which is amazing because, I was doing the math on my and a
little bit of connection issue again. I guess that's part of the thing. I don't know.
Yeah, part of the thing, exactly. So I've been streaming, I can hear myself, see myself live, so that's good. Am I frozen on your side? Or are we good, or what's up?
Oh, it seems to be all right. I'm clicking on the button to make us public in Facebook, so now we're
that's cool.
public and live on Facebook. So our early morning friends that stop in,
that's cool,
and visit and check us out.
That's awesome.
To see what's going on with Jericho and see what's going on with Aaron, because we're just here hanging out. I mean, you're out in the ranch, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
it's kind of good.
Yeah, for sure. I found this one hot spot in town. It's a shop. Shout out to Walters. And then across the street, I believe it's like I think it's the elementary school. So I know that I'm on a piece of property for sale. I haven't called yet on the price, but it's I want to say it's got according to T-Mobile, it's the hottest cellular hotspot in town that I found. And I was thinking about episode 98 and reflecting back on when I was 28 years old. That was definitely a highlight of my life. Being 28 in Santa Barbara, man, that was a good time.
Oh, Santa Barbara, the good old days.
Yeah, exactly. Man, and obviously up north, right? You were 27 years old and up call that the Central Coast, or would you call that upper Santa Maria / Atascadero? All that.
I guess they call it the Central Coast. Anywhere from Ventura to Santa Cruz is, I guess, considered the Central Coast. South of Ventura, and you're in Southern California, north of Santa Cruz, and you're headed up towards, Northern California. I guess San Francisco, Santa Cruz is kind of that demarc. San Luis Obispo, I guess, is in the middle of the Central Coast.
Right.
It's a nice little county, a lot of agriculture, some beach life, some tourist life, and it's a great town. It's
for sure.
There's some things that remind me of Santa Barbara, some things that remind me of Summerland, but there's a lot of differences mixed in.
Right. Does Santa Cruz have any like 5-story building? I mean, Santa Barbara, I think the Granada Theater is the tallest building. Is there in Santa Cruz at all?
Not that I remember. It's been a while since I've been there. I think that I don't know what the building code is, but there's not like a lot of skyscrapers, not a lot of big city buildings. I think 2 or 3 stories is kind of the max that you see around there.
Right. Yeah. that's like a fishing town. I think get out of Ventura, because Ventura's got a few, in Oxnard buildings, down there. Not a lot. I think it was a jewelry salesman said something about the shorter Brown Tower or something. But I guess traditionally when you drive out of Los Angeles, you get down to Westlake and Thousand Oaks and Simi Valley, and once you cross over into Ventura County / Santa Barbara, you really feel like a share, especially when you see the ocean for the first time coming off the 101 freeway. Still route. When you get to Ventura, you can jump on the one and the ocean, and there's a bunch of beach houses there that I want to say are probably definitely over the $1 million mark, every single one of them. But they're cheaper than Malibu. Don't tell anybody, but the cat's out of the bag. Yeah.
Well, I guess Malibu, if you're working in Hollywood or the industry, you got to have access to the big city, and Malibu's like 20 minutes out. You head through the canyon there, and you go up over the hill, and you're in the city, or you go up down the coast a little bit, and you're in the city in Santa Monica, whatnot. And you got to have access to get to work, and if you're working in the city, you got to be somewhere close.
Like there's a movie called Echo in the Canyon. I highly recommend Echo in the Canyon. It's Bob Dylan's son, who's the main character in the film, and it's a documentary about the music scene in the 60s, early 70s, let's say, and how it was a special moment. And some of these people came from the East Coast, of course, originally came from frickin' New York, man, from the East of Port. Back in the day, our ancestors probably saw the Statue of Liberty. Before that, they arrived in America, and most of us, I want to say, East Coast origin, and then we came across the States, and I have some family that went, at least some family that was in Ohio, and eventually they all made. I think perhaps in the old days the newspapers were Rush, and the prospects of California weather. It's like almost like Florida or something. Always hear about Florida, the oranges, and the climate. Humans enjoy when the cloudy sunshine and the weather's warm, and you don't have to put on a parka and slip in the ice out back.
Well, there's definitely something to be said about the weather. I lived, in Washington for a little bit, and there's just something different about getting ready to go outside when it's cold. You got to layer up. Here in California, most people wear flip-flops or sandals, and you can leave your doors open and go outside without having to worry too much about having a thick jacket or long pants. I guess the biggest thing you do have to worry about is making sure your AC works, as far as like in your car,
right? Or your back in the day, it was like your stagecoach could the canvas off and be cruising in the stagecoach with the in the stagecoach,
Yeah, the convertible covered wagon.
Convertible covered
wagon. I guess if you're driving through rain and sleet and snow, everything's going to get wet. That's another thing.
Freaking hardcore.
Especially on the coast. You can leave your bicycle outside.
Yeah.
Pretty much most of the year, and the few times that it does rain, it's usually dried up here in a few days. It's not like back east or some other places where there's 3-4 months where you can't really have anything outside without it getting totally soaked. And so, that does make a lot of sense. And of course, with the agriculture is a big part of California. It's fertile land. We got the San Joaquin Valley. Um, and so, you got good growth seasons. I guess the biggest issue is water, how you get the water, but they have the dam systems and the canal systems. And so they're bringing water from all the way up here in Northern California, all the way down to the valley to Southern California. So, I mean, people have always, needed water. So, rather than moving the people to the water, they're moving the water to the people. So,
it's wild. I don't know if it's like, if reverse engineering, or if it's just our conscious thought in terms of, catching this, using, from the Tahoe area, and then also, of course, behind the mountains of LA and the Arrowhead water situation where they're trying to get them to stop pumping water out, because mountains behind LA, they get some water, they get some snow up there, and then LA gets a significant amount of water. One of my friends, shout out to Kevin Bray, in Los Angeles, he's on the Brewery Arts Complex, and he offers the live action of the LA River when it starts to flow really heavily. It's when it starts going, it's like 17, maybe even 20 feet deep, rushing, walling down. I think to like, what is it? It's not Long Beach, but it's, anyways, a beach community down there where it all flows down and goes in the ocean eventually. And then consciously getting it clean would be a huge, significant thing. Also, Lewis McAdams, R.I.P. Lewis McAdams, the guy saw the LA River, no man's land, desolate wasteland with burned out cars. Like, hey, this could be actually like what looks like behind me, like a sanctuary with, the water running through it and birds, so instigated a river rejuvenation project. I want to say probably a good 20 plus years, and got a lot done. He established river. So just people with conscious thought to better their local environment, and that's a cool thing. I mean, being aware, you don't have to be. I know they probably thought in the 70s that the hippies were eccentrics or something and save the environment, not pollute the environment. I don't know how could people say in 69 there was a big oil spill before we were born right off Santa Barbara coast. I think it was perhaps maybe a tanker. I'd have to look into it, but I know there was the beaches of Santa Barbara, and that was a big environmental then, and it took a lot of cleanup, and it was because of probably the offshore off the coast of Santa Barbara. So just have to
it's a bit of a balancing act. You got on the one hand, you got society and communities and cities where you need to have enough fuel and divert water, but then we also got to live within the means of Earth, the environment,
right?
How far do we go as far as modernization and industrialization before it starts affecting the world? I guess there's a lot of talk on the news about global warming, which obviously there's going to be changes in weather. We talk about the ice age way back in the day, and even as much as like the Sahara Desert used to be a lush forest or jungle, and even so much as the seas changing, and on a human life scale, we could go a lifetime without any major changes. So it's like, how can we look and see, oh, this is going to be a big change, or how can we even stop it, as far as if the Earth's on its cycle, as far as um, or the sun's on its cycle, as far as sunspots or solar flares or solar maximums. Um, all we can really do is observe it and recognize it and prepare for it. Because how are we going to change the fact that the sun and this type of solar maximum is letting however much more sunlight or sun energy or solar energy into our atmosphere. I've often wondered that, as like, okay, so if uh, humans continue to survive for another 100,000 years or however long, how are things going to change, as far as different seasons, different ice ages, or solar maximums, or, you know, um, climate changing. I guess apparently, if we're producing so much CO2, once it gets to a point where there's a lot more CO2, the plants are gonna, start being like, oh, let's thrive. You look at like a lake, with the blue green algae, the algae blooms. Like once there gets a certain amount of level of nitrogen or carbon dioxide or whatever they thrive on, then you get these algae blooms. So I imagine, nature's been around a lot more than you or I or any society.
Of course.
So I imagine it's got his checks and balances to keep, these kinds of things in order.
No, for sure. And we're trying, here locally, there's a couple, I'd love to find out where the history is here in our community in Pagosa. You have a handful of man-made lakes, and then they're struggling with the about where they, some people were just like, we've never had that happen before. It's like the filtration system, the oxygen you got to pump into it. That helped it. So it's just like a fishbowl essentially. If you're not cycling fresh and working through it, so that way you can, your plant life can thrive. If you got fish in the little lake and all that stuff, and if it's near a golf course, doing in terms of their fertilization of their land, so we're stewards for a moment of our life. Let's say, frick, they were the ages of the presidents now. Those guys, how old Mr. T is, but pushing over 70 years old. In amount of time, I would just like to hear more from the elders, the historians, people that actually have charted the climate and have charted life on Earth and how we can do our best now. It's I'm sure the information scientists that occasionally appear on some of the major networks and give us talks on that. So it's always good to hear from those guys. I'm sure they have their own channels. Everyone's how much information's out there, and I'm sure some of those guys. I just haven't had a chance to find them yet.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely something that I guess each generation has to relearn the past, relearn the history. I'm out here in the garden. So I got the cat here. You can see his cat walking on the fence. I figured I'd just try and get some little garden pictures in here. I don't know if you can see the garden. I got a melon over there.
Oh, nice. I love how the history of cats. I mean, the cats appeared, the first cat meat. I mean, I'm not exactly sure, but in the Egyptians, how the Egyptians had the time and how they literally carved the cats into the walls. So that's awesome.
Cats have been domesticated for a long, long time. I mean, even looking at some of these rock sculptures, Sumerian stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
Gilgamesh or whatever is pictured, of having a lion, I guess, in his hand. And it's definitely a pleasure to have some cats. They bring a little bit of entertainment and personality to life. The one of them likes to meow to get in and then meow to get out. It's like a little
right.
child. I guess I'm a cat parent.
Dad. Yeah.
You know, and it's so cute because, you know, they'll come and lay in bed and it's like, oh, you're laying down. Okay, I'll come and lay
Yeah.
down too. So it's really
It's
kind of
like,
cool. You know, I can see why people have had cats and domesticated cats for however many thousands of years. Cats have been part of human life.
they're like a silent by their little language, but you know, they don't. You know, as long as you give them some little, you know, they're like they're on the job. They're essentially hunting mice. Kind of funny and lazy. Where they're like, oh, I thought you were a mouser. They're like, it's not my. It just depends, you know. But a lot of them, for at least our cats, most of them will go after little, you know, whether it's a chipmunk or a squirrel or, you know, a rabbit. You know, I mean, sometimes, you know, there's some people that are really into hunting and some people that just aren't. They want to live with them. Pretty funny cat videos with cats with ducks, cats, of course, with friends. That's always funny to see, that whole situation, how friendly they are.
Yeah, you know, we got this new bunny rabbit, and so it's kind of interesting because the cat is always, you know, kind of looking around. Is the bunny here? And then the bunny, you know, is kind of a cute little guy, and so he'll come up and hop up to Billy, and they'll touch noses, but then they'll get into it, right? They'll get into it, and you know, my cat, he'll like swat at it, but you could tell the claws aren't out, and he's not doing it hard. And then the bunny will come up and try and jump on him, and then they'll wrestle.
No way.
You could tell they're kind of just playing. You know, it's not serious. You don't hear the like when the stray cats come around and cause problems with the cats. It's more like, you know, he'll lay on its side, and the bunny will come up and then he'll paw the paw, and then the bunny will paw the paw, and then the bunny will jump up and he'll jump up and he'll roll around, and you can tell it's funny, you know, that they're playing, and you know, the cats are getting used to the bunny. The bunny had cats around it before, so that's really interesting, you know. And I've seen, you know, even though they say they fight like cats and dogs, I've seen cats and dogs absolutely buddy.
Oh yeah, no, our Gizmo, he like rubs up against him, and you know, it's almost like for a few days, our maybe he sprained his ankle. I don't know what happened, but he was like, because he knew he was down, like he knew he was in pain, or he could sense that there was around. This isn't normal. He's slower. He's slipping around. So the cat was giving him extra love time, and thankfully he snapped out of it after like maybe 4 days or something of giving him outside. He seemed to get better, so that's good. Man, the weather's changing, that's for sure. Up here it's getting a little cooler. We might have some rain today, maybe now, but you know, sort of, you know, mixed feelings on winter. I mean, it is end up here, but it definitely changes the game up in this area, because once the snow, at some point it does stick, and they do a great job of clearing the roads and stuff like that. And it's good for the guys, or good for people to get out and get some exercise, doing something. Got to shovel the snow off the staircase, etc., to so that's for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, when I was it was a while back, but I lived in a place where it snowed too, and it's a totally different thing, you know. When the snow comes and everything's covered in snow, you go outside, nobody's outside. You go down the road, and there's hardly anybody on the road because it's all snowy. And it's a little bit more of a battle, you know. You go, just the mere act of going to the grocery store, you know, you got to first of all pile on the layers. Second of all, you know, make sure your windshield wipers are good, because if snow's coming down, you want to be able to see. And then of course you got to have good tires and hopefully a a 4-wheel drive or a vehicle that's capable, all-wheel drive or something capable of handling the snow. And then you get to the grocery store, and obviously if there's snow, on the parking lot, you got the grocery cart. Are you going to wheel the grocery cart through snow? And
I know.
So it makes sense that people want to come to California, even though up in the mountains you're going to get the snow. For sure.
No, totally. And there's hidden parts of California that I definitely saw when I came out of Santa Maria and drove to Tehachapi and the mountain areas that are desolate, like the some of the early settlers, they settled near the creeks and their little river, little small, wherever there was water, they settled there because they could probably water their crop a little stream. Just to create a almost like long before them, the Native Americans, wherever their settlements were, settled in areas that had water. And I know in Santa Barbara, like in the Miramar, around that areas, there was some definite little mountains in Santa Barbara. And one year after the fires, they had a really significant rainstorm and a bunch of mudslides. It was unfortunate. Some folks lost their lives in Santa Barbara. The mudslide after a big heavy rain after the fires. So, I mean, there is, of course, lately the earthquakes have been pretty heavy in California, I've heard. Just a little under 5.0s, but still, it keeps people on their toes. Remember, like, hey, maybe you should have a few extra gallons of water around, your little kind of stuff, just in case. You got to hang out for a few without, the normal things you always depend on. So.
Yeah, besides just the earthquakes too, I guess I heard out there in Santa Barbara somewhere, like there's a thermal vent type thing, a gas heat thing comes out and it caught a fire. So there's a fire from and I guess how much science can science figure out, when the earth is shifting and there's volcanoes, there's earthquakes, there's underground hot springs, underground heat, vents. I'm not sure how much they coincide or how much science can predict these kind of things. But yeah, I mean, there was a friend of mine in Bakersfield, posted, "Oh, did you feel that? It was an earthquake." And then the other people are like, "Yeah, it was a 5 point something." And oh, there's another one, and there's another one. I guess they kind of come in waves, as far as once one area shifts, then that releases pressure on another area. And whether or not, that causes a hot spring or a volcano or a heat fissure or something, I guess that's a lot of science and studying to figure all that out.
Yeah, I mentioned Superman yesterday. I remember in that old movie where, he has to, and Lois Lane falls in a crack in her car, and because he missed it. She fell in and she essentially died, I believe. So makes the earth, flies up in the air and makes the earth spin backwards to we can save Lois Lane. I remember that. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, I do remember that. It's so interesting how it's just creative. I really like that the idea of creative storytelling with fantasy and
totally.
Fiction, sci-fi, science. I don't know, is Superman sci-fi or fantasy or fiction?
I would say all
or maybe
above,
a combination of all three.
And Marlon Brando was his dad, Jor-El. I think his dad said that to him. Don't change human history. That's one thing. Or don't of what happens or something. He's not supposed to mess with the cycle of regular life, but he does it. That's the girl I had my eye on. I can't live without her. So there's that.
Oh yeah, goodness. Yeah. Oh, Jericho, we made it through another show broadcast. We're coming up on the century mark. 100 shows.
Yeah, we're getting there, man. I know, it's pretty gnarly. It's pretty awesome. man. Congratulations on that. I'm glad we're here. We're doing it after 40 plus years, and we've gone live. And thank you, audience. Remember to like the channel, and we'll keep on keeping on. You know, tomorrow's episode. All right, you have a good day, bro. See you soon.
All right,
okay.
We'll see you
Cheers,
tomorrow.
later.